Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, anytime you be watching this. This is the continuation of our AutoCAD class. I promise that I will be doing a video to introduce you to quick and shortcuts to mastering AutoCAD. So please take time to go through this. This will be essential to your final group projects and submission in the classroom. And then for those who are new to the channel, you can subscribe, you can like and share with your colleagues and others. I will be doing more of this later. So I'll be taking advantage of some professional expertise that I've come across online, and you can just join me now. We would not waste much time. Okay, let's go. Okay, so let's start.
Welcome to SourceCAD. In this three-part video
Here we're
series,
looking at
I
AutoCAD
will
basic
introduce you
tutorial
to
series.
AutoCAD software. So this tutorial series is for a complete beginner in AutoCAD who has absolutely no knowledge of this software
so just take note of this. Very important.
In this AutoCAD beginner series of videos, I will start with the basics and I'll introduce you with the user interface and setting units.
I've done this in the class, but
commands.
it's good for you to also
will move
take notes so that you can get the best.
Using draw and modify tools, and then we'll learn about tools that let you make precise drawings like object snaps. Further, we'll move into some drawing management tools like layers. Then we'll talk about blocks, which are symbols in AutoCAD, and then we'll talk about making dimensions, and finally we'll print our drawing. So all these things in just this three-part AutoCAD tutorial for beginner series. So let's get started. So in this first part, we'll learn about making the basic drawing.
Okay, this is the interface as we have done in the class. Also, if you are new, just follow. Should have installed AutoCAD by now.
Now, when you start AutoCAD for the very first time, this is how your interface is going to look like.
We are using
AutoCAD
2017
and its version.
This is
AutoCAD
2019,
as of now comes
so
in
they're very
two
close.
different variants. It has
As we
AutoCAD
said in the
complete
class,
version, which is
we're
called
already in
AutoCAD
2025
version.
This 2026 is coming out soon.
Version which
it's already
I'm
out
using.
also.
And the second one is Autodesk AutoCAD LT. The LT version is the lighter version of AutoCAD, which has limited set of features. Although all the basic features are similar in both the softwares, still some advanced features like 3D tools and sheet sets are not available in AutoCAD LT. Apart from that, everything is same for AutoCAD as well as AutoCAD LT, including the user interface. Now I am using AutoCAD for Windows here, but if you are a Mac user, you will find the user interface a little different. Although functionally they are exactly the same, the tools, commands, and everything
this is AutoCAD
exactly
2019.
They work in a similar way, but the user interface will be different, and you may have to figure out the place where some of these tools are in the Mac environment. But if you are using Windows, well,
so
you're good to go with
we are using Windows.
Now, this is the start screen of AutoCAD software. And to start a new drawing,
this is 2020
all you need
version.
to do is just select the start drawing
for
box here.
For Windows
and it will start a new tab. So now here we have different parts of the AutoCAD software. The first one is application button on the top left, which has all the frequently used
application
tools.
browser.
The quick access toolbar, again, similar set of tools.
These are the
on quick access toolbar. Then we have the tabs and the ribbon area. On this ribbon area, we have tabs like home, insert, annotate, parametric, and so on. And on these tabs, we have the panels. And on these panels, we have the tools and commands.
These are the ribbons.
To activate any command, all you need to do is just click on its icon and the command will start. Also, you can use the command alias, which is also called the shortcut for the command. For example, if you want to start line command, you can just click here, or you can use its command alias L. So you can just type L, press enter to start the command
or line.
Now this is the drawing area on which shortcut is actually drawn in AutoCAD. And then we have right beneath this drawing area, the command bar or the command line or the command palette, whatever you want to call it. And finally, we have the status bar toggles right here. These status bar toggles help us in making precise drawings in AutoCAD.
This is what we use for precision drawing in AutoCAD.
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track.
Okay, sorry for the interruption.
Let's first make our very first drawing quickly. For that, I'll go to Line Tool and I'll just left click. Now, when you do that, you'll notice that your cursor will look like this, two intersecting lines. This type of cursor is called point selection cursor. Also, right next to cursor, you'll see this kind of tooltip. Now, if you have this kind of tooltip, that's fine. This is called dynamic input.
It is dynamic input.
If you don't, that's also fine. You can bring it using F12 function key.
You can
so
bring
press
in
F12
F12
if you don't have
function
it,
key.
and if you have it, don't press F12 key. Now, in this case, I will not use this dynamic input. So I'm going to press F12 just to make it disappear. And now we have this empty cursor.
You can see the shortcut.
Now we need to start
we can also
the
do
first
this
point. As you
from
can see here on the command line, the instruction is clear. You need to specify first point.
From
so
the drafting
click at a point, and that's going to be your first point. Now
so
click
F12
again.
can make you
that
to
will be the second point.
disable and enable
click again,
dynamic input.
Third point.
Take note of that.
Click again, fourth point. All right. And here we have the very first drawing. Once you have finished making your drawing, press enter to exit from the command. Because after making line, your command will still remain active.
Yes, you have to press enter.
So now let's talk about the navigation tools.
Left click.
So here we have the simple triangle. Now, if you want to navigate in your drawing, if you want to move this triangle around, then you can do that using your middle mouse wheel. So in AutoCAD, it is recommended to use a 3-button mouse, the left click, right click, and the middle mouse wheel. These buttons should be there, and to move this drawing, all you need to do is press and hold the middle mouse wheel. When you do that,
yes, I need to show you the type of mouse that's being talked about here. Let me just pause this. Let me pause the screen sharing so that you can see. I want to I want to show you the, okay, let me just stop the sharing so that I can show you the, now this is the mouse. This is a mouse. This is a 3 button mouse. You know, you have the left click. This is the roller mouse. This is the right click. So take note of that. This kind of mouse, very, very powerful. They are very good for AutoCAD drawing. Okay. Okay, I'll continue now.
hand icon. Now move your mouse and the whole drawing will move along with it. Don't let go your mouse, just move it like this. Now let go your mouse wheel, and if you move it, only your cursor will move now. Now if you move your cursor to any point and then rotate your mouse wheel, it will zoom in your drawing. In the opposite direction, it will zoom out. Also, the point where you put your cursor will become the point which will be zoomed in or zoomed out. To select anything in your drawing, all you need to do is just click on it and that object will be selected. To deselect anything, press escape key and it will deselect your selection, or
press
it will just remove everything from your selection set.
To deselect
also,
all the
to
selections.
exit any
Escape
command,
key. So
you
on the
can
keyboard.
press escape key, and you can press escape key a couple of times. It won't make any difference.
One thing I keep telling everyone is
okay.
Now, before moving on, I'm going to make another drawing here. I'll just make a circle. So I'll go to circle, I'll click at a point, and I'll click at another point. So now we have a triangle and a circle. So if you want to select anything in AutoCAD, as I mentioned earlier, you can select it using this left click. So hover your cursor over the boundary and left click, it will be
And don't forget the
selected.
left click I
That's
showed
easy.
you.
But if you have a lot of objects in your drawing and if you want to make that kind of selection, then you can use the windows. So
This is
click
window
at a
selection.
point and let go your cursor, then move your mouse to the right and you're going to get this window. This window,
This is
this
window
solid
selection.
window is called selection window,
It's
and
going to
everything
select
which
all
is
the
completely
objects
inside this
that you
window
have.
will be selected. In this case, the circle is selected as it is completely inside this window. Now, if I click here and I'll move to
Okay, you
this
want to
side,
select
I'm going to
everything.
get this window, which
And
is
also do
the solid window.
Control A to
And
select
everything which is
everything.
inside the window will be selected. Now the second window is crossing window, and for this, click, let go your cursor. Don't click and hold your cursor, just click and let go. Now move your mouse to the left and you're gonna get this dashed window, which is also called the crossing window.
Here's
In
a
this
crossing
case,
window.
any object which even touches the boundary of this crossing window will be selected. So in
Okay,
this
crossing
case,
window.
the circle and two lines of the triangle, they are simply touching it. They are not completely inside. And if you click, they will still be selected.
This one, you don't need to select
So I'll press
everything.
escape
Just
to get rid of this selection.
click the set.
And then we have the third kind of selection
select
set, which is
everything.
called the lasso selection. So press and hold your left click. Now move your mouse and you're going to get this kind of lasso selection. So if you press and
Lasso
hold,
selection.
you'll get this lasso
You
selection.
have to press down
If
the
you
left.
Press
click.
your left click, let go, you'll get this window selection. That's it. Now let's move to the units, and for that I'll delete this drawing. So I'll
Okay,
hit
you
the
can
window
do Control
and delete.
A, select
So
all.
before you begin any drawing, the
and
first and the basic thing
delete
that you would want to
K.
do is set
to
the
delete
proper
everything
units.
you have.
To set the unit,
So we are
type
going to the
UN.
unit section
And if
now.
you type
Drawing unit,
anything
very important.
in AutoCAD, it will always type that in the command line. You don't actually need to click here in the command line and then type anything. You just need to start typing and it will type the commands directly here on the command line. So
Yes,
I've
can
got
type
UN, so
U-
UN, I'll press
UN,
enter and the
to
drawing
get the-
units window will pop
When you
up.
can get the first two
Now here we have the unit
or three
option. It is right now set to millimeters. I'll change it
letters,
to inches.
you'll be able to
You can
call
select
the
from any
command.
of these
These are the
units,
shortcuts.
and if you don't want any of these units, then you can also select unit less, which
And don't forget,
will
this is
not
the
select any
insertion
kind of unit for this.
scale unit.
But in this case, I will select inches for the unit. Now for the length type, you can select decimal if you want it in this kind of format, in the decimal format. So in this decimal format, if you type 4, it will be 4 inches. If you type 5, it will be 5. If you type 12, it will be 12 inches and so on. But if you want a proper feet and inch format, you can select architectural, and now you'll get your output in the form of feet and inches. And now in this case, if you type 4, it will be 4 inches. If you type 5, it will be 5 inches. But if you type 12, it will now change to 1 feet, which is obviously equal to 12 inches. So you can directly type the inch value, or you can also type the feet values in this architectural format. So for now, I'll go to decimal, I'll click on OK, and now we're using inches as our unit. Now let's talk about making the first set of drawing, and we'll do that using line tool. So you can click here to select the line command, or you can also use its command alias L.
Yes, you
So
can
I'll
use the
type L
alias L
and
to
press
bring out
enter
the line
to
command.
start the line command.
Now, as I said, always
Now, we
keep
need
your
to start
eye
from
on
a
the command
point. As you
window.
can see here, the instruction says you need to start from a point. So I'll just click here, and now I'll move my cursor to the right. When you do that, AutoCAD will show you this tooltip on which you'll see the approximate length of the line. In this case, it's
So this is what we call direct distance entry.
0.8058 unit. So
You can also
that's pretty big.
select
Let's
it
make a line
on
of
screen,
length 100 units.
specification.
So I'm going to type 100
Yeah, this is
and
direct
press
distance
enter.
entry
And we'll have a line of
by
length
typing
100 unit,
the unit.
which is pretty
the
tiny
length.
here. So let's zoom in.
So you can zoom
and I'll
in to
pan my
see
drawing to bring
the
it in
length.
the center, and here it is. It's 100 unit. Now I'll move it to the top, and we have this green tracking vector which indicates that this line is perfectly vertical. Then I'll type 50 and enter, and we have the second line of length 50. Then you can again go to the left side or any other
These are the
direction which
intrusion
you
we have
want.
done in the class,
Type in
but
the
this is
value,
just
for
to
example, maybe 120
to reinforce
and enter,
the class
and
session.
you can even align it in any direction if you want. So I'm going to align it here.
Now, take note of this.
60,
we can also
enter,
type
and so on. So you can keep on
to
making
see
your lines by entering the proper distances, and it will just make your line that way. Also, in this case, if you want to add angle values, then that also
if you want
do
to add angle
easily.
value,
So in
very,
this
very
case,
important.
let's just make another line of length 100. So I'm going to go to 100 and enter. Now this length is again 100, and now from here I want it to incline at an angle of exactly 30 degrees. So now instead of typing 30, I'm going to type this angle sign.
Yes, you
now,
type
this angle
the
sign
angle
is on your keyboard.
on your keyboard,
it's
just like
right next to
less
the
than
N key. So just
shift
press
key
shift key, press and hold shift key, and then
like
press
the less than.
angle
That
sign
less
key,
than
and
sign
it will add the
is
angle
the angle
sign.
sign.
Now type in
Type
30 and press enter.
Press enter. This is a shortcut. We
AutoCAD
could have
will
done
now
it in
take
another way.
this value as angle, not as distance. So if you move your cursor now, you're going to see angle override here, which is now set to 30 units.
That is what
if you now move your cursor,
angle override.
length will change here, but not the angle. So all you need to do is now type
your
in
length
the length. So
can
maybe
change,
I type
but
50,
the angle you have set
enter, and here it is. So now the length of this line is 50, and it is inclined to an angle of 30 degrees with respect to positive side of x-axis. Now to exit the command, press enter key. And this was the line tool.
There's the line
now
tool.
in this case, I specified
we have
polyline
right we have
here
circle,
using the line
we
command,
have arc.
but there is an option that can help you do this pretty easily as well.
As we go
so
along.
For that, I'll once again go to line tool, and now on the status
bar, we're going to look at the
I
polar
have
tracking.
This option
very, very important
polar
too.
Tracking.
So
now,
we have done the orthogonal mode in the
specify
class.
Any angle
it will be
reinforced
here by
I'm
repetition.
Now this arrow, which is right
but
next
now
to
we're looking
tracking,
at polar tracking. You can see the different polar tracking.
Is 90 degrees.
Currently it is 90, 180, 270, 360.
And
so you can pick the one of 30, 60, 90, and so on.
And
these are the polar tracking settings.
And you can see that I have an angle, this green line, at an angle of 0 degrees.
So it has
now, if
been
I move
set
in any
to
direction, it will
polar
show
tracking
the
of
tracking
30,
line at the interval of
60,
30 degrees. So we have it at 30, then 60,
then 90,
then 90, then 120,
then 120,
and so on.
then
so this will also help you in making lines
then
at
180.
any particular angle.
Then you can go on like
so
that.
Here also your line is kind of logged to 60 degrees, and all you need to do is just type in the length.
So the moment you're able to
60,
get a particular
enter,
polar track
and enter. So the
direction
angle is 60
and
so is the length.
The angle, you just
to return it back to normal, I'll change it back
type
to
the
90.
length.
Now, if you've selected the angles, make sure you also keep this active. So this is active. As you can see, it's blue in color. But if you click on it again, it will be deactivated.
So when you click
and deactivated status bar option,
it means it's active. When you click again, it means
if you want
it's
to use
deactivated.
And
also use
you can also
F10
force your lines to
90
degree angles or the multiple of 90s using this tool.
So we are looking at
orthogonal
mode.
If you select this,
is called
AutoCAD
auto
will
mode.
only let you make your
It allows you
at the
to
multiples
use
of 90 degrees.
90 degree
So now,
and
if I click here, I will
vertical
be able to make line here,
and
horizontal or vertical.
vertical.
I won't be able to make my line in any other direction.
So it's just like your T-square
in
your.
I'll still end up with horizontal.
If you're conversant with technical drawing, engineering drawing.
Ortho mode.
So it calls the orthogonal mode,
so
auto mode for short.
Tracking, and the ortho mode will automatically.
You can see the auto mode is like perfect.
Now let's talk about
angle.
another method which can help you make drawings again pretty easily.
The next
and that is
shortcut
dynamic input.
is
so
that makes like
if I go to
easy.
line command,
all these are
under
under what we call the precision tools.
Cursor here, but
very, very
if you
important.
press
Precision
F12
drawing
function
tools.
key, you'll end up with these extra tooltips.
So
this is
dynamic
input feature,
F12,
and right now on my status bar I have it here. So
or
you can just click here to activate or deactivate it, or you can also use its function key F12.
You can also use F12 to bring it
no
up.
longer visible.
Don't forget,
now if you
can
don't
also
have
enable
this
it
kind of
in
feature
the
on your
drafting
status
setting
bar,
area.
then go to customization, this 3- line.
Yes, there's another customization setting
dynamic
here.
input. So this
you can
should be
select
checked.
it.
If it is checked, the dynamic input will show up
Dynamic
here,
input will show
and
up.
then you can activate it.
Yes.
Once
so make
active,
sure you
you'll have
check
it like
from
this.
the
Now click at a
customization
point And
angle
this
there.
time you'll have the length
corner there.
as well as angle, and you can directly type in the values. So in this case,
so this
maybe
allows you
make a
to
line
see
of
what
length
you
200.
are
So I'll type
actually
200
typing
and I'll press tab
on
key.
the screen, on
Now the
the
length will
drawing
be
area.
logged, and you can add the angle value. So let's type 45 for the angle, and I'll press enter. And there we have it. So 200 length and the angle is 45. In a similar way, you can just keep on making lines with the proper angles.
So you can
and
see
the length,
as the
and
polar
you
track
have
is
the
on,
visual reference as well.
and then
So
dynamic
this one
input is
pretty
on. You
handy
can combine these two to
if
help
you
you.
want to use it for making your drawing. So again, 150. Now this angle is, maybe let's make it 30 and enter, and so on.
So you can
To
see,
exit this, once again, I'll press enter.
don't forget the
So these are the
setting
basic
of our
modes
angles
of making
from
drawing
our
in
reference
AutoCAD.
point, north,
In
east,
the next video,
west,
we'll talk about
south.
other draw and modify tools, and we'll make a very simple drawing using those draw
Okay,
and
so
modify
we're going
tools.
to move to the next one quickly, which is very, very important to us here. We're going to now I want to continue with the second part.
Workflow of making a
We have
line
introduced the
using
basic
different tools. We'll move on to learn about different draw and modify tools.
So let's look
And
at
then we'll make
different
a simple drawing using
draw and
those
modify
tools.
tools now.
So you already know about line. Let's talk about polyline.
We're talking about lines, now we're talking about
And
polyline.
as you can see, I have the dynamic input active, which I prefer to keep deactivated. So I'll press F12 function key, and it will be deactivated like this.
So we're now in the
I'll click the
polyline.
point,
Just
next,
type PL
next,
or
and so on,
P line. You can
and enter to exit this command. So this one is polyline. Let's go to line again, and once again I'll do the same.
You can see
And
this
we have
polyline.
the line here. So the
They
basic
become one
difference between
unit.
these two
They become
tools
one
is
entity.
If you select polyline,
Select
the complete
polyline,
set of lines will be
everything
selected,
becomes
as this one is a connected curve, but not
one.
in case of line. If you select line,
So you can
then
see the
that
difference
particular
between
segment
line
will be
and
selected,
polyline.
and all of these are
So
separate.
polyline is called
So
segmented
that's
line.
the first and the basic difference between
Why?
line and polyline tool.
Ordinary line is called segmented lines.
So I'll select
Polyline
them and
is
delete
one
both
single
the
entity.
drawings. Now to make the circle, you can select the circle tool, then click at
This
a
is
point,
for the circle.
and now type in the radius value. So
Just click a
I'll
point,
type 100 as the radius,
and
I'll
then you
press
can
enter, and here we have
put
it. So
the
we have
radius
circle
of
radius
the
100 units.
diameter.
You can also type in the diameter. So I'll go to circle again, I'll click at a point, and now instead of radius,
You
I will
type
go to the command line,
command
and I'll
line
click on this
and
diameter.
click on diameter.
And now AutoCAD will prompt for the diameter value.
That this is diameter
So if I
value.
type 100 now, it will make a circle of radius 50 or dia 100.
So
And
this
here
is
we'll
that.
have
So you
the
can
circle
draw
of
a
dia
circle either by
Now,
diameter
similarly,
specification
we have the
or
arc tool.
by
Now,
the
using arc tool, you
radius
can make
specification.
3-point
So you have to
arcs
take note.
using first, second,
Depends.
and third point.
Then we also
And
have
there are
the
other
arc.
features which you can use
You
to
have
make
3
different kind
points.
of arcs.
Then you have start,
And
center,
it just
end.
depends on the kind of workflow
Start, center,
and the
angle.
drawing
So
that you
any
have, and depending upon
depending
that,
on
you can select from any of
the
these arc tools.
the drawing you are
Similarly,
trying
for
to
the
draw
circle,
arc
we
on.
have 6 different ways of making circle, and it will just
These are
depend on
different
your
way of making
workflow.
circle.
And depending on that, you
So
can select the type
can
of circle
see
that you need.
Different
Now let's
styles,
move to
different
the
techniques.
rectangle
Just
tool. So using rectangle tool, you can obviously make a rectangle. In this case,
this is
click at a
making
point,
rectangle,
and then
making
click at
rectangles.
second point, and you'll have your rectangle. So first point and second point. Now this one is obviously not a precise way of making.
This is not a
rectangle.
precise
So
way.
if you
You
want
have
to make it
you can
precise,
specify
then
the length and the
activate
breadth.
dynamic input by pressing F12 and go to rectangle, so
Yes.
that we have this tooltip now.
So you can now
And click at a point,
create a point.
and now
You have
type
to
in the length
specify
and width.
the length and
So
width.
I'll type 100 for the
100.
length,
Then you
and
tap.
then I'll press tab key,
You said
and I'll type 50 for the
50
width,
for the
and I'll
width.
press
So
enter.
that
and here we
is
have it.
length
So the
100
length is
by
100
50.
and the width is 50.
So this is a
And
precise
that's
way
the
of drawing
which we
rectangle.
need. Now,
The same thing you can draw square
move
with this.
your complete drawing area using pan tool, as you know that.
Yes, this
Press
is a
and
pan
hold your
tool we
mouse
talked
wheel and
about.
Pan it around.
Can
But what if
pan.
you want to move only selected drawings? For example, if you only want
When you are
to
moving
move
the whole
this
drawing,
circle,
you
then
pan.
you can use the tool right here on the modify
You can
panel
use,
called
if you are
move.
moving only one
Select
object,
move tool.
you can
Now
select
select the object that you want to move and,
and
press
then
enter.
press enter, and
Now
then you move it.
select the
Select center,
or any other point,
any other
if
point you want to use to move,
and then
you move it to
your
where
desired point.
you want
So
it to
click let go,
put it.
then again click.
You click it there.
and
That is
move
moving
it.
individual
I'll do it again.
objects.
So I'll go to move and I'll select this circle, or maybe let's select multiple objects. So I'll select this rectangle
Okay, you
and this circle.
can select multiple
I'll
objects
press
also.
enter, and
then
now you need to start from a point. So I'll
pick a
click on a
point.
point, maybe here randomly.
Yes,
and
and then you move.
Pick your objects from that point.
Yes, you must
Now
pick a
click on
point
the next
of
point
reference
where you want to drop
to
it.
the
There we
moving
have
of the object.
Now the copy command works in a similar way, but in this case, instead of moving the object, it will create copies. So I'll go to copy, I'll select the circle, and I'll press enter. Now I'll select the center of this circle for picking this, and now look at this. We still have the original object, but now a new copy is also made. Now click at this next point, and you'll have multiple copies of the same object.
This is multiple
Now to
copy
exit
of the
this
same
command,
object.
press escape key.
And press
I'm gonna
escape
now
key to
select
escape the
all
command.
of these things that we don't need, and I'll delete them.
Now you can
Also, I'll deactivate this dynamic input.
you can delete all the
using
one you
this
want to.
status
If you
bar.
want to
You
delete
can also
everything, just
deactivate
you
it using
Control
F12
A to
function
select
key.
all.
We will now work with simple drawing here. Now, let's talk
But
about
if you are
the
deleting
rotate
only
command.
part, you
So
select
here we
only
have
this
the
one you
rotate
want to
tool.
delete.
Now, select the rotate tool and select the object that you want to rotate. Now I'll press enter, and the command line will prompt you to specify the base point. Whenever you are in doubt, whenever you don't know the next set of steps, look at the command line.
When I say always look at the command line to be in control of
You
AutoCAD.
need to specify the base
When you
point.
select the command rotate,
So
you
I'll
look at the
select
command
this
line,
one
it
as
says
the base
specify the
point.
base point.
And now
So that's
your
the base
object will
point
start
that
rotating
you will use to
along
rotate.
that base point.
So the base point will serve
Now
as
look
your
at the command
reference.
line. It is prompting you to specify the rotation angle.
So now you are
Let's
specifying
type
the angle
30
now.
and enter.
So you
And
type
look at this.
30, that
So now the
is the
rectangle is
angle.
rotated to an
It
angle
has
of
been
30
rotated to
degrees
the
with
angle of
respect to
30.
the original rectangle. It was horizontal, it's now 30 degrees with respect to that. Now let's add a circle inside this rectangle somewhere here, and also I'll make a straight line here like this. Alright, and I will talk about the mirror tool, which is right here. So using
Now
mirror
here we
tool,
look
you
at the
can make
mirror
a
tool.
mirror image of any object. In this case, I'll
Take
select
note of this
rectangle
is
and the circle.
you can also
Press
access
enter,
this
and now you need to
video
specify a
online.
mirroring line. So mirroring line in this case is this one, this line.
I see
click on
that
this
it's
point,
very
and then this
useful.
point,
You can see this is the mirror.
and we'll have this kind of mirror image.
So you can see the mirror image here.
Using mirror tool, you can make mirror images like this. So press enter to finish the command, and you'll end up with mirror image of this original object, where this was the mirroring line.
That was the mirroring line.
Mirroring line is not always necessary. You can even make mirrors without the mirroring line. So I'll go to mirror, I'll select these two objects.
Okay, you don't need
press
to
enter.
use mirroring
Now
line.
I'll randomly click at 2 points. Maybe you can make it aligned if you want.
Yes.
Like this.
So you
But I'll
can
just
use.
make straight lines.
Yes, you don't need to
and
put the
I'll press
mirroring line.
enter,
You don't need to draw a
and we'll still
line
have the mirror
before you
copies.
mirror. You can just use
Now let's talk
an
about
invisible
fillets. So
line.
we have a tool here called fillet, and using
So this
fillet,
is
you
what we
can
call
make the
fillet.
corners of any sharp drawing
This is what
rounded.
we make
So I'll go to fillet,
the
and
corner
now
of a sharp
I'll go to radius,
edge to
and
become
now I'll specify
smooth.
the
It's to
radius
smoothen
as, let's say,
the
5 unit,
the edge
and enter.
of sharp corners.
Now I'll click on
Okay.
this line and this line, and look at this. A small radius of 5 unit will be applied. Let's do it again. So I'll go to fillet, and now I'll click on this radius option and type in the radius value. In this case, I'll type a bigger value, maybe 12 unit, and enter. And now select the first line and the second line, and you'll have this kind of fillet.
When you see the fillet, then you
Now,
have to
let's
tell
make a
us
line
to specify the
that
radius.
intersects these objects like this. And now we'll talk about the trim tool. So
This is trimming.
like this.
The trimming
So we have a lot of
command,
intersecting
trim command or
curves
trim
here.
tool.
And now if you want to trim some unwanted geometries, for example, if you want to trim
This is
this
to
part
trim
of the line or
unwanted
this part,
geometry.
you can use the trim tool right here. So I'll go to trim, and now after selecting trim, just press enter key. This is a step which you're most likely to forget. So in this case, select trim and then press enter. Don't forget to press enter key right after selecting the trim
Yes, when you
tool.
select the trim, immediately
Now click
you press
on
the
the
enter
part of
key.
the drawing that you want to trim. So in this case, I'll click on this line and look at this. It will trim it up to the next boundary. If I click here, it will trim it up to the next boundary. The similar thing will happen for the circle as well. If I click here, it will trim it up to the next boundaries. So using trim tool, you can trim the objects up to the next available boundaries like this. And that's trim tool. Now, finally, let's talk about a tool called offset.
Okay, this is
So
offset tool.
I'll go to rectangle.
Will be demonstrated.
And I'll add a
will be
fillet
demonstrating this also more.
of radius 10 on this corner.
Sorry for the
And
screen that
I'll
is
press
not very
enter.
sharp.
Pressing enter will just repeat your last command, and I'll select this one. Okay, there we have it. Now I'll go to offset, and offset tool will make another copy of your object which is geometrically similar but at a certain distance. So now I'll type in offset distance of, let's say, 2 unit. I'll press enter. Now I'll select this boundary and I'll move it outwards. So if I click inside, it will make an offset copy just inside. If I move outside, it will make the offset copy outside, just like this. Again, I'll go to offset, and this time I'll add a bigger value of, let's say, 10 unit for the offset distance. I'll select the same line, I'll click outside, and look at this. We have this offset again. So that's our offset tool. Now let's talk about the object snap status bar option, which is a really important status bar
I tried
option.
to introduce this
And
in the class.
without using object
the
snap,
object
you won't
snap.
be able to make precise drawings.
Very, very important for precision
So whenever
drawing.
you select any command and move your cursor close to any point, for example, in this case, I'm moving close to these intersection points, also called the
I've explained this in the
endpoint.
class, but this is
AutoCAD
another
will
reinforcement
automatically snap your cursor to those
demonstration.
points, and you'll also see this tooltip with endpoint and this green box. So this is happening because we have object snap activated here, and on the object snap, if you click on this arrow, you'll see list of points which AutoCAD recognizes, and from this list we have endpoint, midpoint, center, intersection, and insertion selected. So currently only these points
Don't
will
forget
show
we can also
up when
access
you
this
bring
from
your
the
cursor
drafting
close to any
setting
point.
section.
In this case, look at the midpoint. It is now
The
checked. I'll just uncheck this. Now I'll go to this point. We have endpoint here.
From the tool menu.
And I'll just click here, and now I'll move my cursor close to the midpoint of this line. But look at this, we don't have anything. Now even if I click here, which is very close to the midpoint, look at my drawing. It will snap the line to this point because this was highlighted. It won't snap to midpoint. Now I'll press Ctrl Z and I'll go to this object snap arrow.
Okay, see the importance of object snap. Midpoint.
Also make sure that this tool is also active here on your status bar.
Don't forget, I also taught you about
now if I go to
override.
midpoint, look at this, it will be highlighted.
You can see that midpoints are highlighted now. So object snap override also can be used.
Like
can you see that?
So this is the object snap. Now other points in object snap include the center. If I move close to the center of an arc or
my video
circle,
is a
it will
bit
recognize that. Other points are the intersection
quality.
point. For example, if I go here, it will recognize the intersection of these two lines
it's just
or any other
to
curve,
help us
and so
get
on.
better.
If you deactivate object snap, you won't be able to snap to these points. And look at this, even if I move close to this point, it won't recognize it. No endpoints, no midpoints. So it should be checked if you want these points. So now we are fairly equipped with the basic draw and modify commands of AutoCAD.
So these are the basic
these tools will
draw
now make
and modify
our 2D drawing
tools.
So this is what we are going to make. So
let's locally make these 2D drawings.
So for this drawing,
the one I gave you in the class, that would
the
be
line tool. So I'll go to line
for the
and I'll click at a point
for the group.
And now I'll make a line of length 18 unit, which is this one.
This
18
is
unit.
going to be individual.
So 18 and enter. And enter again.
Attempt.
Now look at this line. It's kind of very tiny, so I'll zoom in to bring it here in the drawing area. Now we see it clearly. So now I'll go to circle.
Let's stop here because I'm going to make another video
all
of
these
this.
circles.
So because
dia
thank you.
8.2, dia 4.8, dia 3.6.
I'm going to stop here so as to make the video clearer. So just check on the next video. You will see just check on the next video. you will see a clearer picture. I mean, a clearer video demonstrating that object to be drawn by you individually. So here, let's call it a day. Let's stop here so that the video is not it's not so long. Thank you. I'll see you in the next see you in the class, and then also check up the next video. Thank you.